Hello and welcome to the Faith and Culture to Your Health series. And today we're going to be talking about things of the mind, how we think, why we think, and some of the harmful ways that our society has been hurting people and the way they think. We're going to be talking today with Kathleen Mills. She's a licensed professional counselor supervisor, a certified integrative mental health professional, and certified VAT practitioner. And she will be telling us a little bit more about what that means. Kathleen is the owner of a group practice called Life Tree Counseling Center, Incorporated, located in Frisco, Texas, since 1992. Kathleen has helped many counselors start their own practice and helps launch them into the next level of genius. Kathleen's current practice is predicated on utilizing a holistic approach to mental health care. She has seen the lack of progress when using psychiatric medications, since they only mask and reduce the symptoms and not get to the root of the issue. Kathleen utilizes a naturopathic system, which includes a comprehensive 6-pillar approach to wellness, which includes cleaning up the eating patterns and using a very comprehensive nutritional supplementation program, which is very contrary to the fractionated supplementation plan. Kathleen is trained as a certified Vibroacoustical practitioner, and I probably just butchered that word. It utilizes a specific frequency delivery system for her clients to help improve mood, which reduces high cortisol levels in the body and other things too, which we've talked about on this show many times, how harmful cortisol can be when it doesn't stop. Which this also increases a better critical thinking modality to help problem solve and resolve her clients' life struggles. Kathleen is also the co-founder of Association for Mental Health Professionals, which she founded in 2022. It has acquired many mental health professionals throughout the country who were abandoned by the woke ideology associations in the counseling field. AHMP has a strong membership program that focuses on treating the whole person, mind, body, and spirit. AHMP has been very successful advocating the issues that are important to her members. It has helped offset the legacy associations who advocate for things like gender-affirming care for minors, critical race theory, DEI, which has now been outlawed in the state of Texas. Bravo. We're going to welcome today Kathleen Mills. So welcome, Kathleen. Thank you so much for being here. There's so much to learn, and you're really brave to step up. It's really hard to get a psychological counselor on this show who wants to speak up. Yeah.
Well, I don't have a problem speaking up. So there you go.
Thank goodness. We really need some help here.
Yeah.
I don't know about in where you are, but in states like Virginia and Maryland, in about 2015, the governor at that time, Governor Northam, he and the other governor of Maryland made it illegal for licensed professionals like yourself to help people who were in sexually diverse lifestyles or dilemmas and had gender dysphoria. They were not allowed to help. They could only affirm. And we'll get into that later. But so they've had to go underground. So yeah. I'm really glad and thankful to the Lord for people like you. So thank you.
You're very welcome. It's my pleasure. And I think the tide is turning, and it's turning very, very hard in the right way. So I want to encourage your listeners to know that people like me and others here in the state of Texas, and probably Virginia, well, in Virginia too, have been able to stand up for this madness that our talk therapy spaces for clients need to be coming from what is called a viewpoint discrimination, which is a certain ideology, and you can't talk about anything else. And so that has really shaken up this profession by leaps and bounds. And so there's many of us who have been siloed from each other. And now we're starting to find each other, which is very, very dangerous for the other side, because we're speaking up and we're confronting, and they're not used to that. So I will tell you that we are winning. It's a battle. We are in a spiritual warfare. That's all it is. I mean, that's all it is. I don't mean to, make light of that, but what we're seeing is a spiritual warfare of the mind, body, and soul.
It definitely is. And it started long before 2020.
Right.
I have firsthand experience with really kind of learning what gain of function is through, I guess, supposed Lyme disease, which is really a conglomeration of all kinds of, I guess, parasites, bacteria, ailments. Judy Mikovits calls it neuro AIDS, but
Yes.
any professional that was helping people, even long before 20 years ago, 30 years ago, they were sidelined and silenced. And so people who were getting this Lyme neuro AIDS, they were just dying. You just died. And you led, it was very hard to get help. And if you did, it was not complete help. So
Right.
yeah, this has been a long time coming. And you're on the psychological end of things, which plays into all of these manufactured diseases and now ideologies. So
Correct. And it's about, I mean, I don't know if you want to get into this or not, but I love Dr. Judy Mikovits. I mean, she was probably one of the first people that I found initially that was talking about very nefarious things. And she had the proof to back it up. And if you know her story, she just went through it in a really bad way, and she has overcome that. And now you can't shut her up, which is great. So I just love her so much. But yeah, so people are starting to talk and freely now, and be able to embrace their critical thinking piece right here. And if it's not adding up, it probably isn't. So keep questioning every single thing that you see. Don't believe anything until you do your own research, and then you can point yourself to the way of, you're in charge of you, right? Not somebody telling you what you have to do or believe or whatever. So
yes, we have to really learn how to self-advocate, and we have to know where to look to get the truth, because obviously if Google owns just about everything, you cannot trust that.
right.
They too have I guess an objective, and it's not to help you, period. So I'm really loving sites like yours and others that have popped up by these brave practitioners who really took their oath, their Hippocratic oath, seriously. And it's hard to find. So there's a lot of things you do that I didn't realize counselors, professional counselors did. Like you work with integrative mental health, your bio says, and I'm used to integrative health. Yes, I'm all for that. But what is integrative mental health?
Yeah, it's a designation. It's basically called the Certification of Integrative Mental Health Practitioner or Professional. And basically what the certification essentially does is it marries, formal training into something more naturopathic. Although I will tell you the CIMHP certification is not a true form of naturopathic wellness, but it starts to entertain the notion of the holistic, a holistic approach with treatment for a client who's coming into your door for, let's say, I don't know, pick something, depression or anxiety or bipolar or whatever. It's not just a neck up approach. It's more what's happening down here below the neck, because that has a very strong correlation between what's happening in your body is also messing up your mind, if you will. And so the integrative approach for counselors, it is a certification, and it will focus on things like sleep, nutrition. They're more fractionated in their nutrition supplements. I kind of don't do that because you have to have all 90 in order for it to work. So, that's a big piece of the puzzle for me, but it really does involve more of the entire wellness of somebody, not just from a neck up approach. And typically our profession has been siloed, if you will, to just focus on the brain, the thoughts, the feelings, and it's usually modalities like EMDR, AFT, just all kinds of, all the alphabet soup, CBT, DBT, but it's from a brain thinking problem. And I don't see my clients as just that. I see them in a different light. And once that happens, it really can help accelerate a better wellness platform for the client or the patient, whichever you want to use, to actually physically and mentally and emotionally and spiritually get well.
I'm so glad that that's happening. I also recently heard that thanks to Bobby Kennedy, Secretary Kennedy, he is making it a requirement for practitioners of I guess in every realm, you can probably correct me on this, to look at the nutrition of their patients.
Yes, and I think he was pretty much focusing it on the medical curriculum for med students, medical students. Now, not so much with the counselors, but what happens on the allopathic side will someday, hit us too. We're always the last, of things. But we are also the gatekeepers for many other nefarious things too. So we can talk about that too. But yes, I'm really thankful that he's made that declaration. The problem with that is whether the colleges, the med schools are actually going to be teaching what he's talking about and what that's actually going to look like. One course isn't going to do it, but I guess it's a start, right? The allopathic, the medical community sees the patient as to push their drugs and surgeries on without really talking about how to help the body fix itself. They don't believe in that concept. Rather, they will purely are taught symptom reduction, and you can never get well. And the only person that knows how to do symptom reduction is the allopathics. It's the medical side. It's the big pharma. It's all that. So they've really left out the spiritual component. Okay. They've also left out what the concept of, if you give the body what it needs, it has the ability to fix itself. There's been research upon research upon research on the naturopathic side that really does confirm it. And so there's this clash between the allopaths and the naturopaths, and it's been ongoing since the Rockefellers started this whole concept of, symptom reduction with petroleum-based, prescriptions, right?
Yeah, that's right. More people have to understand that this is real. And I know this has nothing to do with the show, but I'm now researching and reading about why all of that was put into place. And when did it start? Not just the health, but everything else we're living through right now and trying to get untethered from. Anyhow, yes, we can get leaky gut, and then that goes, that all this debris passes the blood-brain barrier, right? And then that can create mental health issues. And the person dealing with it doesn't understand what's happening to them. They just know that they're not feeling like they used to.
We've been programmed, I mean, all of us, including myself, that there is no connection between what you eat and how you are. And there's also, we've been led to believe that the only way to fix something is through symptom reduction, because the doctors don't know how this all happened, which is kind of crazy because they spend their almost 16 years in med school, and when you ask the doctor, well, what's causing this, they'll go, I don't know, it's just a gene defect. Well, which gene is defect? I mean, it's just ridiculous. And they don't know. Well, I don't even know how arthritis, but you have it. And so here's the symptom reduction treatment plan, which keeps the patient connected to their doctors for the rest of their lives, because they can't actually get healing from it. They don't know how to do the healing piece. So where the difference between naturopath is, they take the body, mind, body and spirit, and they actually just figure out what to do to actually, for instance, heal and recover from a leaky gut. It's very curable.
Yeah.
It's very curable. But then you've got the disconnect. Like, we can do this on the naturopathic side, and here's the things that you need to do. I need your help, and here's what you need to do in order to fix it. And you would be shocked, because that's not the concept that the allopaths have given us. What the allopaths have given us is just say, Catherine, you got leaky gut. I don't know what's causing it, but try this prescription, and then we'll move to another one just to help calm it down. And so you just take a pill, and that's it. And then people keep going, and it's still not fixed. Like, imagine you taking your car into the shop for the 9th time for the same issue. You'd probably be looking for a different mechanic. But for some reason, we're still paying attention to the doctors who don't know what causes, in this case, leaky gut. They just know that all the pills aren't working. Yeah, I feel a little better, but I don't feel great. And that's what the allopaths will say. Well, that's as good as it's going to get. Where the naturopathic goes, oh no, contraire. We're gonna fix you, but I need you involved in the process. And that requires an enormous amount of work from the patient, because they're not used to doing their own self-care in that way. It's not just take a pill and you're done. It's like, okay, we're looking at your sleep, we're looking at your exercise, we're seriously looking at what you're eating. And just to clean up the diet, you would be thinking that's just the worst thing for patients to go, what do you mean I have to change my eating? Nobody's ever told me that. Well, it's because you've been lied to. So that's the rub. That's the hard part about turning this around. I need your help. I need you to participate in your wellness, your healing. And once you start doing that, and your patient is buying into it, they start feeling better, and they're going, oh my gosh, this is opening up a whole new world. Why didn't anybody tell me? I don't know, but I'm glad you're here.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. That's just music to my ears. And that's true. The hardest thing is changing up what you eat.
Right.
Very, very hard. Okay. So you do a couple things. You talk in your bio, it talks about vibroacoustical. What kind of therapy is that?
Yes, it's called vibroacoustical therapy. And basically what it is, it's a frequency modality for anywhere between well, I do a couple of different kinds, but the vibroacoustical therapy, you have to buy the equipment in order to do this, and you certainly have to do the training in order to do this. As a former musician, this was right up my alley. Okay, so it just paired really nice with my past life, if you will, before I got into this crazy business of counseling. But it's a frequency modality, and I don't know how many of your listeners have heard of this. You've heard of the med beds, or you've heard of frequency work like sound baths, 432 hertz, the Schumann resonance. Well, that's
Is
all
that real? Is it real?
Yes, very. There's
Wow.
Yeah, the Schumann resonance is live and well, and it's our mothership Earth here. That's at 7.82 hertz, and
Wow.
and so you can replicate that. So the vibroacoustical therapy basically is that kind of modality that is about healing on a frequency cellular level of your body. So if you give the body what it needs, right, it will have the ability to heal itself. So most of my clients are very high cortisol. They're super stressed out. We've been in a very stressful situation at least since 2020, and it's still stressful. And so the frequency, it goes to the vagus nerve system. Your vagus nerve goes from the base of your spine all the way up here. So it's a very long nerve ending that is responsible for, that cortisol level that's going to really send the vagus nerve out of whack. So what my frequency work does is you basically lay on what I call a sound lounge. It's like an ergonomic kind of bed type thing. I put I do some essential oils. Lavender or orange is a very nice combination of that. And then what I will do is between the two of us, we'll figure out anywhere between 40 hertz to about 120 hertz. And it's a very slow and low series of vibrations in that one frequency. And it's about a 22-minute process. And so I will cover them up with a weighted blanket. All the lights go out except for one. And then I cover their eyes with a lavender eye mask. And so they just sit there, lay there on the bed for 22 minutes and just watch the process. They're actually feeling the actual, for instance, 40 hertz is very good for some of my people because they are super stressed out and they just need to calm down. So 40 hertz is about 22 minutes, and it's just these little teeny tiny vibrations that you can feel throughout the entire lounge, from the bottom of your toes to back here on your neck, in a series. And what it does, it sends electrical pulses of that frequency into the cell, and it has an amazing effect where it just helps your body to relax. It's an infrared kind of heat transfer, and it just does an amazing thing at the cellular level. It's almost, well, it's probably better than a full body massage because it's going into the cells for 22 minutes. And typically what will happen is there's a lot of apprehension when my clients do it. This is pretty woo-woo. I don't know. And I go, I know, but just think about it, pray about it, because we are all humans we're frequency beings. We just are. And so this pairs really nice with the spiritual component as well, too. Although it's a little woo-woo, I will say, Catherine. But usually what will happen after the 22nd minute, I will come back in and I'll just let my person just stay on that sound lounge just for a second, just to let things kind of percolate a little bit. And then I'll ask them, how was it? And more times out of 10, the only thing that comes out of their mouth is, this is amazing. What happened? And so we'll kind of download like what their thought process was, what they were feeling. Sometimes they cry for no reason because they're thinking about stuff, but the frequency work is very nurturing. It's very loving. It really is. It's just a beautiful thing. So they're able to kind of calm down a little bit. And then typically I will check up on them the day after, and then the day after that. Hey, I just want to know how you're doing. How did you sleep? Or just how are you doing? And mostly everybody on the next day tell me, this was the best sleep I've ever had. It's that powerful.
Wow.
And then the next day, I will say, how are you doing? I just want to check up anything that's kind of off. And they go, no, this is the best I've ever felt. So
How long
what
does it
happens
last?
is when I do this with them, it starts to unlock a really nice feature for them. And that's their ability to finally calm down enough that they're able to think through what the situation or situations that they're in, that they're depressed or that they're anxious. And they have these epiphanies in the talk therapy that they wouldn't have done before. So that's what I'm noticing, because they're calm enough and they're resolute enough that the process of the actual talk therapy is 100% much better. And it's so fun to see that happening. And they are having fun being able to talk about it and figure out how to problem solve and empower them to make those changes in their life. It's really kind of cool.
How long does it last? I mean, like, is it days, or does it
I'm not
kind of?
hearing you.
Oh, you can't hear me?
Did I mess up?
No. Can you hear me now?
I don't hear you. What's going on?
Can you hear me now? Let me turn off my speaker.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't think I did anything.
Can you hear me?
No, can't hear you. I can see your lips move. Do you want me to log off and log back on and see if that helps? No.
No. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna. Okay, it's in the chat.
Let me press my video here real quick. Okay. Check your speaker.
Hello? Hello?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I unmuted, so.
Can you hear me?
Mm-mm.
Wow.
Oh, no.
Okay. Okay.
I guess Satan didn't like this conversation. What do you think, Kath? Maybe exit and come back. I can exit and come back. You want me to do that?
Let's try
it. All right, I'll be there in a minute.
Hello.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh,
What happened?
I don't know. That's okay, because that can be edited out. All of it will be edited out.
Okay.
At least I didn't have to exit, because then
Oh
we'd
my
have to do a
gosh.
whole new recording. I'd have to set up another studio.
Oh.
Good. No. Okay. So yes. What amazes me, Kathleen, about all of this is that I'm wondering, what I wanted to know was, how do we know how long it lasts? What have you seen after this kind of treatment, vibration, the infrared, just for 22 minutes? Does it kind of like a reset, or do they have to come back and do it again?
Yeah. I mean, the more you do it, the better it is for your body. It's not a one and done thing. I mean, however, the idea is during this process, I'm also adding other pieces, the 6 pillars that I do, like eating better, cutting out, avoiding the 12 bad foods, getting that person on a fully nutrified supplementational program. And I only recommend a certain brand. You can't buy it at the store. You have to mail order it because it's so pure, and it's probably the best products for fully nutrifying your body, which really helps go a long way. Because when you feel better, you're sleeping better, you're thinking better, you're able to assess, your whole life a whole lot better, and you're decreasing the irrational thought patterns or the high anxiety, because when you give the body what it needs, it has the ability to fix itself. And that's not my quote, that is Dr. Peter Glidden's quote, who's probably one of the best naturopaths in the world, but he's here in the United States. So the vibroacoustical therapy, I usually like to recommend 12 sessions, regularly, because we really have to start interfering with that high cortisol level that has been allowed to control everything for so long, just to dial it back as they're getting on the other, as we're starting to nutrify their body. Because I'm a firm believer that if you are not fully nutrified and you are eating garbage in, you're going to be garbage out, like garbage food, the whole thing. It just upsets everything inside your body. So part of this is trying to get the vagus nerve to do what it's supposed to do, instead of freaking out all the time and just generating all this cortisol. So that takes a while. But once you start really living on a holistic mind, body, spirit modality, you're going to find that you're going to want to do periodically the vibroacoustical therapy, it's similar to getting a massage. You know, when you get a massage, you keep going because it feels good, because you feel amazing after you get done. But then we're going back into the world, okay, and we're really fighting the battles in our personal lives or whatever it is.
Right.
We're going to have those same responses, hopefully less over time. But I'm going to go back and get another massage because this was a bad week. It's the same with the vibroacoustical therapy. So it's, again, it's not a one and done thing, but it's part of incorporating what those things might be for you that actually is powerfully successful. And you keep working out, right? You keep going, doing these good things that makes your body feel amazing. So it's not a one and done. It's carving it like, so for instance, I have a healer, I go to her and I know exactly what I need. Now it's not as frequent as it used to be, but like I'll pick up the phone and go, "Hey girl, I need to get in." She goes, "Well, what do you want to do?" And I said, "I think I need a beamer session, or I think I need the foot detox." Your body will start to tell you, what you kind of need. And then there's a frequency place in Colleyville. It's called Terra Quantum Recharge, which is an amazing place. And you literally are in a room of 432 hertz. You basically sleep during your 2 hours and you're getting recharged with the frequencies. We are frequency beings. We are energy cells, and we have to recharge. So that's, a lot of people are walking around kind of numbed because their battery is low. So this is the idea of like, we're going to fill up your cup with a lot of different kinds of modalities.
Well, I know that there are some people, I'm thinking of one in particular, who might be completely against all of this.
Sure.
Because they'll see it as new age
Right.
stuff. So is there a place they can go to see the science behind this? Because I know in order to even create these machines and environments, there is study. There are some brain scan studies. There are looking at your cells to see what has changed. And it sounds very refined. So where can people see the actual science behind this?
I guess I would encourage them to just Google search medbed research. The medbeds are totally frequency based. Even on the allopathic side, they're doing frequency work. Let me give you an example. An example would be they're going to laser beam out your kidney stones, or they're going to when they do gallbladder removals, that is all frequency based. They're not cutting it out anymore. They're doing it through frequency. They're doing it through a laser beam. A laser beam is it is frequency. So there's a lot of stuff. There's different kinds of frequencies. There are frequencies that are designed to destroy. Okay, so for instance, kidney stones, they're going to laser those things out. That is a destruction through frequency. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So it's the same on this side. So if you don't believe that there's frequency work on the allopathic side, you're completely, you've missed the boat, because they're doing all kinds of frequency work. But it's on the destruction side, which they're trying to get rid of something. The frequency that I'm doing, and many others are begin to do, is recharge, renew, calm down. We're not destroying anything. We're rebuilding. Okay. We're filling your cup up with the frequencies that your body actually needs to feel
and
better.
That makes sense, especially because we're in an environment now where we have all of these electronic gadgets. We know they are not good for us. The EMFs that come out of and just emit from them.
Right. Yeah.
There have been studies done on your blood. Even if you're holding your phone, for just a few minutes. If they take your blood, you're going to see how all the platelets are sticky and piling up instead of floating freely like they should be. I mean, they're forming a clot in essence.
Well, yes, and if you don't believe in the frequency work, your cell phone is completely frequency based. 5G is a frequency. It is a very destructive frequency. We don't need to be doing 5G. Now they're going up to 6, and they have already started looking at 10Gs. Well, it's hurting people and it's making people sick. And that's historically, you will see that, with the ramifications of upping, the electronics of our world, right? So, we are frequency. Everything we touch, everything we are is frequency based.
Wow. And it is. And so thank goodness for this new technology. I just feel like God is so good to us because he knew this was coming. So he has given scientists this ability to understand, okay, how do we get people a little bit back into a normal flow of life, the way, like you say, we are frequency beings and we are electric. And I've done a lot of reading on the brain, and just it's amazing how the thought process and works, and we can actually think about somebody on the other side of the world, and if we are connected, family, best friends, just someone you really care about, they're going to sense that you're thinking about them. And it's just weird. And that's woo, but it's really happening.
Well, it's really
I'm not trying to do it.
How many times have you been thinking about somebody and then the next day they call and they go, I was thinking about you, and it's like, oh, that's weird because I was thinking about you too yesterday. We're all, everything you see, everything you touch is frequency based.
Yeah. Good point. Okay. So I just kind of wondered how long it would take to kind of reset people, because I know that when you have high anxiety, obviously we're all going to go through some sort of anxious periods. But there are some people who get anxious for so long that the cortisol no longer stops. It's just a constant flow. And that will wear you out, wear your body out, wear your brain out. And so it's nice to know that there really is something that can slow down. Obviously, the Holy Spirit can, God can do that. But if there's something else, especially for people who don't believe in God, that they can start getting back into a flow of, like you say on your site, it's the critical thinking skills start to come back, because instead of this hamster wheel going on in their brain.
Right. It's slowing the process down so you have the ability to think. So another piece of the pie here is, it's not just about frequency work, but it's, again, addressing the whole body. And usually depression or anxiety or bipolar, I usually tell my patients who have self-diagnosed them as, oh, I'm anxious because I took a test on, whatever platform or whatever. And I just look at them and go, no, you don't. No, you're not. You're not anxious. You're not depressed. Yeah, are you? And they just look at me like, but you're the counselor. You're supposed to give me that label. I'm not giving you the label, because if I give you the label, what are you going to do with it? It identifies you as being depressed. That's not how God wanted this to happen. So it is also because of a mineral deficit that is exacerbating these depressed symptoms, or these anxious symptoms, or this high cortisol, because the body is trying to fight off with limited resources, and we're not filling our tank up with our minerals, because our food supply is not very good. So we have to do a daily supplementation of all the essential nutrients 90. It's like the amino acids, it's a lot of minerals, and it's a lot of other things. And you have to make it all work together. And in order for your body to receive it well, you have to give all 90 to it in this perfect dosage daily. And you will be shocked at how much better your body will be able to respond to things, because you're giving the body what it needs in order to do its wonderful thing that it was designed to do. And that's just to, live life and be happy and go out there and make a difference and love one another and, be part of God's plan. So this is definitely a mineral deficiency. It's not my grandparents had depression and my dad was having depression. Again, it's this whole thing about, it's in your genes. Well, no, it's not. And that's the allopathic way of explaining, hey, you're just going to have to deal with this. And I'm the guy who gets to dispense these medications that have serious side effects, right?
Yes.
Who aren't giving you that informed consent of what the side effects are. So, that's another component too. Informed consent is not being done.
Yeah. Yes, I did a show with Dr. Mikovits on that we are not getting informed consent, and that's hurting people.
Yes.
There's a whole science behind that, and Big Pharma has that down pat.
Mm-hmm. Yep, they sure do, and they know it's going to hurt them. That's the problem. I mean, Big Pharma has decided that they have to tell you. I mean, this is the dark side of things. In order for you to know, they have to tell you how it's going to impact you. So if you listen to all the commercials on television, what usually happens for the next, 15 seconds, they're telling you the effects of what this drug is going to do to you. So don't be complaining to me. So the commercials do an informed consent of like, you could die from this, or you could have heart problems, or you could have a stroke or whatever. But hey, we told you on the commercial, so I did my due diligence. Now the doctor didn't, but so that's their idea of informed consent. And that's how these people can keep doing this to others, right? They're going to tell you what's going to happen before it happens. And then they relieve themselves of, well, you're the one who signed up for this, so it's not my fault.
Yeah, it is the dark side of things, and we have to pay close attention. I'd rather do things in a natural way and really get healed and be able to be productive in this world than to be limping along with a cabinet full of prescription drugs that I have to take every day. Ugh,
right.
No thanks. So we've been living in a very high anxiety driven culture. And I think I have personally seen it ramp up over the years. I think it's gotten worse and worse with media. And I'm just wondering, on your end of things, what have you seen? How did this ramp up, and what have you seen?
Well, I think it's always been there. I mean, the media's job is to scare the living daylights out of everybody, and it's all fear-based. The constant stream of being afraid of something. For instance, you need to take this vaccine in order to, not get this. And, by the way, a storm is coming, so there's nothing good. So all the negative energy, which is a frequency, by the way, is being delivered to us day in and day out in order for us to be on hyper alert because something horrible is happening. There's never anything good. And that's the job of social media. It's always something. I can't get a break. So when people come in, one of the questions I'll ask is, how much time are you spending on the internet? And where are you spending your time in? And more times out of not, once we start cleaning that up, you would be amazed at how much better they feel. Why? Because they can smell the roses and see the beauty instead of constant darkness. in where they're going on social media, even the television. Turn the television off, go outside and play. And that's another thing too. We're constantly inside now by design to decrease our whole frequency of living, and we're very depressed because we don't get the sun on our face and recoup that vitamin D that we so desperately need every day.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's all, we are in a fear-based world. That's how it rolls.
Yes, but we can fight back.
Yes, absolutely. Yes,
We can.
absolutely.
And okay, when was it? And I think it was in 2009. God started to show me a few things that I didn't like what I was seeing, and it really started in 2004, but it ramped up over time in 2008, 2009 about the sexual diverse lifestyles. And I'd seen this, wasn't new to me. I knew people, had friends as a young adult who, it was very sporadic. It
Right.
wasn't commonplace. And then it started to ramp up, and I started to notice it. So because I have a scientific mind, I started doing research on it. And what you after and scriptural, that something's wrong. It's not adding up. If God's going to tell you don't live this way, there's a reason for it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's usually a health reason. Like 99% of the time, it's a health reason for it. And so I was wondering, what on earth is going on? And I'm just wondering, and then because of that, I was doing research back in 2000. I have to think back because everything revolved around 2015, 16, those years. Anyhow, as soon as the transgender thing got into society and they started pushing that,
Mm-hmm.
I heard one counselor who was being interviewed on the radio on a program that I was listening to, and he said his practice had increased by 4,000% because all of these young people the parents were bringing them in, freaking out. I don't know if you had that same experience.
The counselor was seeing a 4,000% increase because the parents were bringing their children in because of the trans ideology.
Yes.
Yeah.
That he had never seen that before. He had seen the sexual diversity, mindset and helping them because they knew it was wrong. They wanted to come out of it. But he had seen this. I'm just quoting him. It was like a 4,000% increase of how many parents were now dealing with this transgender ideology that they did. Yeah. It came out of left field for them.
Yeah, this is one of the grand plans on the dark side is to divide the family and blow up the nuclear family. And so this is an ideology that is it's a contagion. It's a social contagion that was specifically designed to reach these young, impressionable children. And it's also in government schools. The gender ideology is alive and well. There's a K through 12 curriculum and also books and libraries that this is a slow drip. So by the time these children get to be, 10, when they already have cell phones, well, where are they going? Who needs a cell phone at 10? I don't know, but okay. But the parents are not monitoring where they're going with their little phones. Now, it's interesting too because many schools throughout the country, like this was maybe 10 years ago, decided it would be a really good idea to issue every single student a laptop or an iPad so they could do their homework.
Yes.
And that just opened it up for these children who have no idea where they're going. Maybe they do, I don't know, but the world just opened up, and the world was waiting for them, and then, was able to access them in many forms, TikTok, Instagram, the whole 9 yards. And so this is the contagion that has been masterminded by the dark to get our children into talking about things that they shouldn't even be exposed to until they're like 21, because children are very impressionable. And so now we've got, school districts around the country that has a list of like, okay, well, what pronouns would you like to be called today? Fourth graders. Now, come on. They're talking about sexual identity in kindergarten class, the drag queen library times, all of that. It's just very overt. So that explains why there's been a very big deluge of parents freaking out because they don't know what to do.
Right.
And they entrust counselors who love this ideology, I'm just going to say it like that, and are promoting the ideology even in the 10 by 10 therapeutic room.
Wow.
So it's not a good picture to paint in our counseling field. Our counseling field has been captured very much by this social contagion ideology, so much to the point. You got me on a rant now, Catherine. So much to the point where counselors are telling parents, well, would you rather have a live daughter or a dead son in order to get the puberty blockers and the mutilation surgery started, at age 13, for crying out loud.
I know.
So our counseling field is not well, and I'm in it, and I'm telling you, if you ever decide to go to a counselor, please vet them thoroughly. We are not all the same, but I kind of think about 85%, give or take a couple percentage points. It might be a little higher. And maybe even 90% have been totally captured in this ideology. And then you've got states that, for instance, Colorado, the Childs v. Salazar case was one, thank goodness. But the Colorado state statutes told counselors, you may not talk about anything other than gender affirming care, even if the client requests to talk about the other side of the puzzle. Right. So that's called viewpoint discrimination, and Colorado got away with it for a while until it went to the Supreme Court, thank goodness, by a counselor who was conflicted because it's like, well, the client is asking me to talk about the other side, and she basically told the client, I can't talk about that because I'm going to lose my license. I just have to affirm you. That does so much damage to somebody who is seeking information from a licensed professional counselor, mind you, that we're supposed to know all the answers, or we have dialogue on all sides. Well, this gender ideology was also, the state supported it by having laws like this. And I think it was either West Virginia or Virginia that the same thing happened there too. And the therapist won. And so the licensing board had to renege on it, which is great.
Yes, because for me, when I heard that was happening, I thought, that is a crime against humanity.
Yes.
When somebody really wants help and they have nowhere to turn because it caught everybody off guard,
Mm-hmm.
to have something as ridiculous as to think you were born in the wrong body.
Right.
And then you have even churches thinking, well, you know,
We
things
can't offend anybody.
So-
What?
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Yes, and not standing up for anything because they're afraid of what? They should be more afraid of God than of man. So and it's just frustrating. So I want to find out from you, have you seen a level of anxiety increase with all of this nonsense happening?
I don't know if I've seen an increase. I've seen
Okay.
an increase. I mean, anything's possible, Catherine. So I'm not going to discount that at all. But what I've seen in what I've seen an increase is people don't have the ability to think for themselves anymore. They've been sucked into this ideology, and it's almost totalitarianism. You know, it's a Marxist view. If you don't think like me, then obviously you must be a racist. No, I just disagree, and this is wrong. You know, I'm pushing back, and you would be shocked at the counselors that I know who have been trying to unravel this nefarious, you know, child mutilation. I'm just going to call it that because that's what it is. You, you know, we Christian therapists who really are pushing back have been called everything in the book. We've been blacklisted. We've been threatened. The whole thing. I mean, there's nothing. It doesn't get any worse than that. For counselors to be that captured that they can't handle having a conversation about, don't you want to rethink this? Don't you see the damage that this is doing? I mean, I'm seeing the damage. Like, how is it that you're refusing to see this and you're still defending it? And that's where we're at right now in Texas. But I'm, you know, so I'm going to tell all your listeners, if you ever go to counseling, I am encouraging you on bended knee to please vet them. Read their website. Yeah, I mean, if they have, you know, I have a safe space. That's code for affirming. You know, if they have the whole LGBTQA plus XYZ and more store on their thing, you probably want to go somewhere else. You know, there are signs on websites that will tell you what that counselor is all about. And if you don't know, then interview them before you even sign up for the thing, you know? So you're welcome. But we are winning. There's some of us therapists who are really pushing back here hard in the state of Texas, and we're seeing some really good things from it. But I will still tell you, I'm still looking behind me. You know, I think we're pushing back so hard that they now are acknowledging that we're not going to go away. We're just not. And the law is on our side now in Texas. There is
the science is on your side too.
Well, here's the rub. It gets even more comical, Catherine. Their idea of science is adhering to what is called an opinion of what we think you should do by the standards of care that were just, you know, we think this is a good idea. There was no research, but it's an opinion. It's kind of from an opinion-based evidence from WPATH. So these counselors who are still, you know, wanting to do the gender affirming care on littles, right, in the state of Texas, which they cannot write the letter that gets them to the next level. So Texas just passed or confirmed that mental health counselors in the state of Texas are in fact healthcare providers. I mean, it's that ridiculous. So Senate Bill 14 was passed by the legislature that said no gender affirming care for minors from any healthcare providers whatsoever. And they listed the healthcare stuff, like things like the puberty blockers, the drugs, the surgeries. The healthcare providers can't do that. Well, the woke ideology counselors globbed onto that and said, well, first of all, we're not healthcare providers. And second of all, we can't prescribe these. So clearly the letter writing is really okay, because I don't have anything to do with that. Well, in order to get the puberty blockers, you gotta have a therapist. The doctors require the therapist to write a letter of, yeah, this person is eligible for, the puberty blockers because they think she thinks she's a boy or whatever it is. And so you're ready. And it's a 1-session model. It's on a template that is given to these counselors by WPATH. There's a training involved, but you just fill in the name, the diagnosis, and then the parent takes the letter and takes it to the doctor who's going to start on puberty blockers. And that's a facilitation, the next step to the gender affirming care process. We can't do that anymore. Well, the counselors who are still appalled by, this bill, they're trying to wiggle out of their responsibility because they've been writing these letters for a really long time. And what you're seeing now is you're seeing these same therapists blast people like me who's trying to figure this out. Like, why would you do this to a child? Like, first of all, why would you do it? I don't care what the diagnosis is. You just don't mess with God and the body and God's child, right? But anyways, to make a long story short, they are now, they've been put on notice, and they're not liking it. Now, what you're seeing is, Catherine, which is the good news about this whole thing, is we're seeing the drip of these lawsuits, and there's a lot of them in the background waiting to be filed, that they are coming after the counselor who wrote the letter. They're not coming after the doctor. They're coming after the doctor and anybody who had anything to do with the process of the gender affirming care. You just saw a lawsuit that was won in New York, of all places. A jury awarded, $2 million to a detransitioner because this person was incredibly harmed by the whole thing. And out of the $2 million suit, guess who bared 75% of the cost of the damages owed to this detransitioner? It was the counselor. It was the psychologist who wrote the letter. And the other 15% or 25% was the doctors who actually did the harm, the bodily harm. So, and then you had a suit that was just settled in Oregon, of all places. Here we go again. Detransitioner suing the counselor and the counseling center for the letter. And she won.
Good.
Then in Texas, you're seeing the same thing. So this is happening right now, and it's very good. But we're still in the battle. We still have to wear our armor to defend these poor people who are misled, including their parents. Okay. The parents were misled by counselors and the surgeons and the doctors and all this kind of stuff. This is going to be with us for forever.
Yeah, I think so too. Once you open the box,
it's the box has been open here in Texas. I mean, it's definitely open, and it's definitely opened up in Colorado. So my theory, if you want, Catherine, is that the reason why I'm seeing an adverse, like a vitriol response from the therapists who think the gender affirming care for children, it should still be going on in Texas. They're just appalled that the state is going to come down on them. I think what's happened is they're starting to do the math, and they're going, oh my God, I've written some letters. When am I going to get the lawsuit by
Good.
somebody who's going to detransition? And that's happening right now here in Texas.
Okay.
Yeah, she's 20. She had the surgery done, young adult, and the counselor who wrote the letter to get that process started didn't know what she was doing, and she wrote it for the client. It's just crazy. But anyway, so that's in the works here for Texas, but there's going to be many more.
I hope so. I really do, because this is a lot of, obviously the surgery is irreversible.
Right.
And I'm hearing that the hormone drugs are also irreversible. Yes. And it breaks my heart. There's a young woman at a Starbucks where I frequent, and beautiful. And you can tell she's a girl and she's trying to be a guy. And I know she's on those hormone drugs because her voice has changed. And it just breaks my heart. And I stand there while I'm waiting and I just pray. Mm-hmm. I ask God to open her eyes before she goes any further.
Right.
In the whole process. Yeah, it's terrible. It's an atrocity that I just can't believe this stuff God sees, and He knew this was going to happen.
Right. It's very damaging to these people and their families. Again, this is another quiver, or arrow in the quiver to blow up the nuclear family.
Yeah.
And it's really done a lot of damage. And what's really mind-boggling for me, it makes me sick thinking about it, but our profession has been hoodwinked and captured itself. And so vet your therapist, please, is what I want you to do. Even if you can't find one, have somebody help you find one that you can really talk about. Now, the Charles Salazar case was very key in this too. We do have free speech in our talk therapy room. We can talk about both sides now. And so that is another issue that all licensing boards in all 50 states are going to have to unpack. And fortunately for here, the licensing board, it's called BHEC, Texas Behavioral Executive Council, and the 4 licensing boards of counselors are underneath it. They have really, they're taking this really seriously, and they are unpacking it. And they did issue, they did, render a formal statement in conjunction with Charles v. Salazar. You can talk about anything you want. The only caveat is when it crosses a state statute or some unethical kind of behavior, that the counselor will get in trouble. Okay? So that's something to kind of watch other states wrestle with as well.
So to help people, what would you suggest to parents other than vetting the counselor if they start to see signs? Do you have any suggestions for them?
Yeah. Parents, love your child. We went through adolescent years, and you know how confusing it was for us. Well, the same thing is happening to your little one. You love them, you let them struggle, but you keep them safe and you're protecting them. You're not letting them buy into the ideology. This is a normal part of development for children. to go through not liking their body, not liking themselves. I mean, do you not remember what it was like when you were a teenager? I mean, it's the same thing. You're looking at it, but cover them with protection and love them from afar, but love them, hold them tight, do things with them. Don't let them be on social media 12 hours a day. I mean, please take your parenting power back. You're the parent. You've got the rules in your house to keep your children safe and protected. Don't cower to the hovercraft kind of, or don't do the work for your child. You're going to keep them safe while they figure this out. Okay, so discipline is key here. And I think parents are scared to parent their kids. And that's another whole thing where, the school districts have basically, stripped parents of their rights in many, many ways, right? We can't even give them an aspirin. It's got to go through the school nurse, but yet you can talk about gender affirming care and not inform me as a parent. Like, push back on your school board parents, or I'm telling you, take your kids out of school and start homeschooling.
Yeah.
Take them out.
And there's so many co-ops these days that makes it easier than it was 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah. So explore your options, but don't be afraid and don't cower to the fear that your son is going to, kill themselves. That's a myth. Don't be afraid of that.
Yeah. So Kathleen, you are a busy woman. You've started many things. You've helped others in your profession, and you have a conference on top of everything else. I know it's a big chore to put a conference together.
Yes.
So I want to put up your banner for that. Let's see. Or your promo. And so people can see what it is. You want to tell us just a little bit about it?
Yes. This is a new association. We're 4.5 years old. It's called the Association for Mental Health Professionals.org. We started, both me and co-creator Philip Crum, we started this about 4 or 5 years ago because I was tired of the legacy associations having a one-up on everything, and while not representing their members who just happen to be faith-based. And the gender affirming care was really rolling pretty hard. And I just had it. So we started the Association for Mental Health Professionals to get like-minded professionals who want to help restore and regain and refresh our profession back to once a noble profession. And it's not a small task, but I do think we've got a lot of work to do to regain the trust of our community. I'm also seeing the community kind of wake up and they're going, I'm not so sure I want to go to counseling. So that's another factor too, because they know that something's not going right in the counseling room when they take little Johnny in there and when the counselor doesn't have any contact with them, right? With the parent. That's like crazy. Anyways, so our conference is basically on a mind, body, spirit, holistic approach for counseling. We do vet all of our speakers are keynote speakers. We typically will decide what the title of our conference will be. In this year, it's about informed consent and building and empowering your client while you give them informed consent, which nobody is doing on the allopathic side, so they can make better decisions about their wellness. So we have shored up these marvelous speakers that you're seeing on the screen. We've got an attorney and Dr. Jan Wares. This is just an optional pre-conference kind of thing. We're going to talk about family law for 2 hours. Then the conference actually starts at noon on October 3rd. And we are going to start off with 3 powerhouses, and that would be Brett Bashawati, Dr. Peter Glidden, and Dr. Art Copes, and they're talking about one of the 6 pillars of wellness. And they're going to be talking about nutritional things. They're going to be talking about holistic things, about food and all that kind of stuff, and how it relates to mental health wellness. And what we're seeing in mental health may be because the body is needing something and it's a deficit, and how we need to nutrify the body in order for the mental wellness to get pretty much fixed. Then on day 2, we're going to talk to Dr. Angie Farella. She's a frontline doctor. She's amazing. She's in Houston. She's coming up. She's a member of our group. So doctors can be members, counselors can be members, associates can be members, and just healers, for all that matter, can be members of our group, because we're really coming at it on a completely different trajectory. We're not talking about big pharma. We're not talking about the latest, greatest drug. We're talking about how to get the body whole. So day 2, Angie Farella and Dr. Jeff Barkey out of California, they're really going to be doing a really deep dive on what is informed consent and how does that apply to counselors in their 10 by 10 space. We are not doing informed consent with our clients. I'm totally convinced of that, especially with this gender affirming care mindset. Nobody who wrote that letter gave informed consent about the process and the side effects, the effects of the puberty blockers and the surgeries. Now we're seeing the detransitioners tell us what is happening. They'll never be well. No. They're going to be in the medical community for the rest of their lives because of the damage that this did. So we're really talking about informed consent. And then we're going to have a dinner on day 2. It's a sit-down meal. It's very, very nice. And just where everybody can communicate and just love each other and have conversation and all that kind of stuff. We do an awards ceremony a little bit. And then we're going to have Dr. Carrie Madej. I don't know if you've seen her, but please look her up. She's amazing. She's going to be delivering the spiritual component of why mental health counselors need to incorporate. Her testimony is pretty strong. She is a medical doctor. She is doing a lot of work in the transhumanism piece of the puzzle, and she's just a beautiful soul. And then on day 3 is just the powerhouse from Dr. Henry Ely, and he is going to really ratchet it up. We're giving him 2 hours to just talk about all kinds of things on the holistic level, and it's just going to be a beautiful thing. And then throughout day 2 and day 3, we have what it's called table topics, where we have 12 tables, and it's a 45-minute session each topic, and people can pick which table they want to go, and we're going to have a moderator, and there's a subject matter, and just to talk about it, because a lot of times counselors don't have in these other conferences don't have the time to talk about issues that they're facing in their business, right? Topics like men's issues, women's issues, supervisor associate issues, all kinds of stuff. So it's really going to be very, very well done. And at the end of it, probably you'll walk away with 20 to 24 CEs. It's a beautiful thing.
That's exciting. I'm so glad to see this. I have a friend out here who is a psychiatrist, and she has done the same thing. And she has conferences, I don't know, 18 months, 18 months, because it takes a while to set it up, to get the speakers, to get everything organized, to figure out how much you have to charge. Just, it's a lot of work, but thank you. Thank you for putting this together. And people can go, tell us where to go so people can look it up, and also to look up what you do and maybe get started.
Okay. Well, if you're interested in our conference, would love for you to just look, and please come. The price of the ticket includes just about every meal during those 3 days, except for day one night. That's on your own. But it's a very loving conference. You will be fed on all levels. It's association. Go to our website, associationformentalhealthprofessionals.org. There's an events tab, and click onto that and just see. We are very meticulous and very wordy on how it's going to roll. And so sometimes more information is better. The price of the ticket costs, it may be more than normal, but we have vetted all of our speakers. We pay them to speak. And that's a big piece of the cost. And then we feed you on top of that. So by the time you do the math on 24 CEs, it's well worth the ticket price. If you want to find out a little bit about me, you certainly can go to lifetreecounseling.com. And this is a group practice that I've owned since 1992. Love the colleagues that I work with and serve. Our client base is very, it's all over the place. And for some reason, they just really like coming to us because they feel heard and listened to and loved while they work on the things that they need to work on. So then you can see all the vibroacoustical stuff that I do and all of our wellness. We have a wellness resources page, which is really mirrors the mind, body, spirit, instead of just call the NAMIs, call suicide. No, this is a wellness page to get you well. So it's kind of fun.
That's wonderful. Well, thank you for all your hard work. And I appreciate you even more because of your love for the Lord and your respect for for human dignity.
Right.
That's important. We don't see a lot of that.
No.
That's okay, though. That's why we're here.
Well, thank you very much, Catherine. It's been a very pleasure, and I hope this was helpful to at least one person.
I know. Thank you.
You're very welcome.